and going out and trying new things, adventuring, going out to the sea, going out and finding yourself. It's really important to take those risks, because you never find the most beautiful things in your life without stepping outside of your comfort zone and taking a risk. So trying new things like that in the concert is always a good idea, I think, because even if it doesn't land, even if we start singing again together and the audience goes, oh, we have to sing again, I can't believe we have to do this, we just did it, I don't want to do it again. But for some in the audience, it's a really important thing. For some in the audience, you may not have sung since you were a small child. I've done a lot of these events where I've come to churches, community centers, my concerts, and then had the audience perform with us. Once I did a church over in Phoenix, and I had a woman come up after we had sung and had the whole congregation singing along. She said, you know, this is the first time I've sung since elementary school. I said, oh, tell me about it. She said, well, I still remember sitting backstage in my little red dress about to go on for the Christmas concert. And as I was about to go on stage, my music teacher stopped me and said, honey, just mouth the words, don't. And I don't blame the teacher. I don't blame the teacher. Because so many of us say those things without thinking. You know, a parent, kids, screaming and singing along with their favorite Disney movie, let it go, let it go. Can you shut up? Just stop that racket. Oh my gosh, you can't carry a tune in a bucket. But we don't realize that sometimes it only takes that once. It's often just that single experience that sticks with you for the rest of your life. There's a researcher named Dr. Brene Brown who researches shame and vulnerability. She found in her studies that over half of people have had a single experience in their life, a single moment that redefined for the rest of their lives how they saw themselves as learners. And she found over half of those were in the arts. There's researchers that will go in and ask kindergartners. You go to a kindergarten class and say, how many of you are artists? How many of you are singers? How many of you are painters? They all raise their hand. Oh, I'm so excited. And you go to first grade and you see 80% of them raise their hand. You go to third grade and like, okay, it's about half. And you get to middle school and it's one or two of the weird drama kids in the back. But we do something through childhood. It happens to many, many of us, if not all of us, if not most of us, when we decide that we're not good enough to sing anymore. It's only the last 100 years or so that we've had any kind of recording technology and the ability to experience music without producing it ourselves. For the vast majority of human history, we had to sing. Daughters were taught piano because if you had a party, your daughter played the piano, so you had some music going on, because there wasn't a Victrola, there wasn't a record player, there wasn't a CD player. If you wanted music, you had to produce it at home. So I really think it's important that we as communities open ourselves up to singing. Even if it's just once a year in the choir concert that you come to and you reluctantly sing along because your sister, your wife, your whatever dragged you along, you're saying, oh, fine, I guess I'll do it once a year. Maybe some Christmas carols with the family. Maybe a lullaby for the grandchild. Maybe singing along with one of the patriotic songs or the national anthem when you go to a sports game or go to a Veterans Day ceremony. A little bit more singing in your life can make a real difference. And sometimes, someone in the audience really needs it. And you don't know if that person is next to you. You don't know where that person is. You don't know if they're going to come up afterwards and thank you. I've had several people in the last concerts come up to me and say, one of those songs was sung at my mother's funeral. Or, I just lost a child this last week. And singing with a room full of people really made it a little bit easier to deal with. Thank you. You never know when that happens. It's not every concert, it's not every event, but if you guys open up your voices and share them with us, I promise you, there's at least one person who needs to hear your voice tonight. There's probably more than one in here. So we're going to sing one more song together before we close out. This one you'll recognize as well. Same pattern as last time. I sing, then they sing, then you sing. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 We're going to use our choir posture, not our audience posture. Thank you very much. We're going to grow on those big long notes when we hit them. He's got, ready? And he's got the whole world in his hands. 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 And make sure you sing that last note The warmest, the sweetest, the richest, the most beautiful. The last note is the most important note. The last song is the most important song in the concert, and you're going to see that nice and soon. The last thing that happens sticks in the brain so well. If you think back to graduation in school, if you think back to the last relationship you had that ended, if you think back to the last time you quit a job or got fired, that last moment sticks a lot more powerfully than the several moments before, right? The last moment is the most powerful moment, so we've got to sing right through to the end of that phrase. When you're doing a concert, when you're doing an event, when you're doing your job, when you're working with your family, when you're doing anything in your life, you've got to commit and see it through to the very end. Imagine that you're young and you fall in love. And you're on this whirlwind romance. And you go to Disneyland, and you go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and you look at the moon, and you're eating the pizza, and the cheese is dripping between your mouths, just like Lady and the Tramp, and you meet each other's parents, and you're sitting, and you go to the preacher, and you write down all the wonderful things about each other and how much you love each other, and you know that the ring's coming, and you spend all the time shopping for the ring. You find the perfect ring, the absolutely perfect ring. You find the perfect church. You find everything perfect, and she's just waiting every day for you to ask, please, is today going to be the day? And you wake up one day, and she smells the coffee brewing. She comes over to the bathroom and starts brushing her teeth. And you're sitting on the toilet with the door open, and you say, hey, babe, you want to get married? The ending matters. The ending matters. The very end. Doesn't matter how good it is leading up. You sing beautifully for me, and you get the whole world in his hand. Sing to the last note. The whole world in his hand. Sing it with us. Ready? Here we go. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world. Yeah, make that note grow. In his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Thank you. Sing through that last note every time. Make eye contact with your favorite choir member and sing to them. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 Thank you. Sopranos, you're with my friends over here. We're going to change the very end to make some nice, beautiful harmony. Instead of the whole world in his hands, you have the easy part. Just stick on that top note. He's got the whole world in his hands. Sopranos, sing that with me. He's got the whole world in his hands. Sing that with me. He's got the whole world in his hands. Thank you very much. And you guys sing for me the same thing you already know. He's got the whole world in his hands. Again. He's got the whole world in his hands. With them. He's got the whole world in his hands. Thank you very much. Altos, you're with my friends over here. You have the most complicated part, but it's not that complicated. Don't worry. You just don't go as far down as they do. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. For my lady friends. He's got the whole world in his hands. Altos, will you sing that for me once? He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Thank you. With my friends on the melody. He's got the whole world in his hands. With my friends on the end. He's got the whole world in his hands. Sing the whole thing for me. Here we go. And he's got the whole world.